840, contact departure 135.6, have a good flight.
Departure 135.6, thank you.
And a happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to Denver, Colorado, and tonight's Saturday night stream. We are continuing our heavy testing. We're going to be, as you can see, in the DC8 tonight. And we're going to try to take this baby down to San Diego. Let's see what happens. Always an adventure with this plane. Looking forward to getting things going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is the story. We got a little bit of an anomaly here because we actually had our route changed here. Downwind Sim checking in. Yeah, I took the frame out. We'll see how it goes. As you can see, a little bit of a new template here. So, yeah, like I say, we'll kind of play it by ear and see what happens. But wrestling went well. The local kid in one of the weight classes ended up winning it, so it was pretty cool. It was the last match of the day, and they did really, really well. I had to work a little bit today. I had to work a wrestling tournament. But all right, so here's the point. Baba. We were hoping we'd be cleared Rocky 4 departure with a Baba transition, but they want us going to Red Table instead. So this honestly is not going to be there. No big deal. It doesn't change us around all that much. We'll go down to Blue Mesa, down to Rattlesnake, down to Gallup, over here to Prescott, I think, and then into Pike, and then we'll be on the Oh, you're not seeing the map. Okay, that's not good. This is P3D. So that was one of our things that we were trying to mess with here. Bummer. All right. Well, forget about that. Just pretend that you see the sim brief in front of you. Sorry, the Sky Vector in front of you, and understand we're departing on runway 25 and heading down to San Diego. We'll mess with that other part in a little bit there. So thanks for pointing that out now when I did not know that. So we'll keep mucking around with it. I did try to spare you all the setup, and as you can see here, maybe you can't. Our INS is aligned, ready to go to nav, and I wanted to just kind of take that half hour or so out of this stream. This can already be a 3-hour flight, so I wanted to make sure that we didn't have that as well. You can go back and watch any of my streams if you're interested in how to set up the INS there. But we are ready actually for engine start. So let's head over here. Let's make sure we have everything where we need it. I have all my lights on. Emergency lights are armed. Engine ice I don't have on just yet. We'll kind of take a look real quickly before we leave to decide if we need that. No smoking nav, anti-collisions on. My radio is set. My anti-skid is armed. Parking brake is set. Take my word for it. Fuel they're all off and the flaps are 0. Takeoff data is in. My altitude is set. My heading is set. My VOR frequency, that's red table 117.90, is set. And I got to make sure that my, let's see, this switch view here. All right, all these fuel selectors are set on main. That's good. Yaw damper is off. Need to arm the starter. Make sure I'm clicking the right thing here. Yep, starter ignition is on. And then we're going to turn the galley power off. Sorry about that, flight attendants. We need a little bit of power though. And we start with number 3. So main boost is coming on. Back over here. Engine number 3. We'll look back here. This is spinning up. It needs to get, there's the 2 for 20%. We need to get to 17% or higher. That's about where we're at. And we can introduce the fuel. If I can click the right button there. And then we'll watch all these gauges spin to life. There is hydraulic pressure, hydraulic brake pressure, very important. We did learn that the hard way one time. All right. Oil pressure light is off. We can do that here with number 4. Main boost pump on. Ignition on. N2 is rising. There's 17 plus.
Good evening, Denver Tower, NASA 47, in line for the
Fuel
visual,
is on.
8,000 feet, Denver
And
35 right.
engine number 4 coming alive.
NASA 47, Denver Tower. Good
Hope
evening.
you've had a good Saturday.
26010
It's been pretty good.
Right, clear land.
A little bit of work in the middle of it. Never hurt anybody. Alright, there's engine 4 started. Let's go to engine 2 and do the same thing. Boost on. Ignition on. Around we go. 15, 16, 17. Fuel on. And there's a good start. Well, it's not a good start until the oil pressure light goes off and the engine stabilizes, which it has. And then we'll do the last one, engine number 1. Boost pump on. Ignition. N2 rising. Supposed to have a big storm here coming in, and it's been backed off a little bit to maybe tomorrow night, but it's supposed to be the biggest snowstorm we've had thus far. But right now it's like 50 degrees where I live. I live in Wyoming. It's February. It shouldn't be 50 degrees, but we'll sure take it. It should allow all of the wrestlers from the various teams that were up here for the tournament to make it home safely, hopefully. We've had some nasty weather down south in my state. A lot of wrecks and things like that on the interstate. All right, all that's going. Those are all good. We can turn this off. We can make sure let's see, I need to make sure that the probe heat is on. It is. And anti-ice as needed. And the best part here about this step is I get to turn off the external air and external power. All right. I don't think we are looking at any icing conditions right now, so I am looking just to double check. Nope, should be a very nice flight. I don't see any weather in between Denver and San Diego right now, so should be pleasant. We won't worry about turning on any of the anti-icing. Let's see, we do have to go do a little bit of work over here. Let's put the gen parallel. Let's make sure that's on. Whoops, that's up here. Sorry, gen parallel. We do need to go off of external to battery power. All right, there, all the gens are parallel. We can go ahead and turn the galley power back on. We need to
follow the transmission. That
Put
is
the
about
compressors on.
climb via the SID.
The
Departure
pneumatic
will be offline squawk 0655.
systems can come on.
Sorry, climb in
And the
1010.
Freon compressors can come on. We have heat and we have AC depending on what we need. Might need a little AC today. It's pretty nice.
Trade with Pikes to public transition is 5. Climb via.
And hopefully all of our enunciators are extinguished.
No departure frequency, squawk
Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. Everything's out.
PM 702 unit from Tango squawk 0655.
All right, we need to push here. And we are cleared to runway 25. I'll just give you a feel for where we're at here. See if we can find us anyway. Whoops. Where are we?
You were ready for taxi?
Down here at Alpha, yep. Alright, so if we could push back with a nose right, that would be awesome. Let's see if... Oh, you're not seeing that. Sorry. We need a nose right push. It's going to be hard for me to not drag that over and... Yep, that's not working. Alright, so regular old boring push.
NASA 747 Denver Tower.
Denver Tower, NASA 747, stand by.
See if I can remember how to get the tail to go left. I think you push number 1 after you get started, and that makes the tail go to the left. If not, we'll just go straight back. And we'll hope we're not going to run into anybody.
01 Denver Tower, cleared to...
So part of the test, kind of like last night, we're seeing how the DC8, which is an Aerosoft product, pretty frame-heavy product, how it handles in the Denver scenery, which is, again, a fairly heavy frame type scenery. And then same thing with San Diego. The San Diego is an Orbix airport, and I forget who makes Denver. Same guys that make San Francisco and oh shoot, I don't remember. All right, that's as far as we're going to go for now. Set the parking brake, and we need to check in with Tower for taxi. And Tower United 816, ready for taxi.
United 816 of Tower in the 25 taxi via Gulf.
25 via Gulf, United 816 heavy. Okay.
Denver Tower,
okay.
Okay. Could I get taxi instructions to gate Bravo?
We're just about ready to go here. So the other thing we're testing out, like I mentioned before, is the new OBS template, I guess. Had a little bit of trouble yesterday with my chat, and so I just felt like maybe it was time to try a little different setup. Okay. Before taxi flaps, we're going to go flaps 15 departure. Let's see, controls. Uh-oh. That's not good. I have a view at the back here. Kinda, sorta. I think all the control surfaces are working here. We'll go with that. Gonna have to adjust that chase plane view. It's interesting the little things that you find when you are messing around. All right, altitude again is set. Heading is set. Transponder needs to go to mode Charlie, and we need to make sure that's Charlie down here as well. There we go. 0616. And I can also turn the terrain radar on. I know it says weather, but right now this is just a terrain radar, unfortunately. And windshield heat, we have that turned on. And we're going to go ahead and put this starter ignition back to the armed position. Yep, windshield heat is on. All right, let's do our taxi. It's a right-hand turn here, and then we pick up Gulf, and we make a left-hand turn. Parking brake is released, and here we go. Welcome aboard, Downwind Sims. Just you and me, and what do you say? Just you and me and us chickens, or something like that. Everybody's out having fun on a beautiful Saturday. I just finished scarfing down a pizza. I missed lunch, so I went ahead and made a pizza for kind of an early dinner. Can't let 757 Spy eat all the pizza. All right, Flight Beam, that's who makes this. I just remember that now, Flight Beam. And I have Flight Beam San Francisco that I need to test out as well at some point. But, yep. So far, so good. Just looking for a little less stuttery, little bit smoother operations. And I can tell my panning around already is a little bit better, although it's still somewhat choppy. But the controls they feel really good right now. Very responsive. Building a great checklist for the MD80. I wonder how similar it is, honestly. I think the MD80 does not have, right, the engineer's panel, right? It's a two-man job. Downwind Sim is the master of the Mad Dog. Interactive checklist. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. All right, here we go. I need to be looking around, make sure. We do have some traffic here. As you can hear, we have ATC. We got guys coming and going. And there is an event, by the way, happening down Kansas City way. They just did a little impromptu fly the Chiefs to the Super Bowl deal. So if you were looking for some place to go, both MCI and MIA are online right now. Alright, this is Gulf, I think, coming up. Yep. We'll turn left, head to runway 25, and be ready for departure. We're going to fly, since we had the red table transition added on. Well, it really wasn't added on. I just didn't include it in my original flight, my IFR request. So I had to add it on. It should have been on there to begin with, but I'm going to fly that one using just regular radio navigation, and then we will engage the INS when we get a little bit closer to Blue Mesa, which is actually the second VOR that we have. But it's the first one that I have programmed into the SIVA down here. So let's put this here. Yeah, we got 138 miles to go. And one thing I do like about this INS versus the one that's in the Captain Sim is they both do operate independently. So you can put one on kind of a distance and time away or whatever you want, and then the other I like to put on the wind. Right now the wind calm. 0 at 0. So that's pretty cool. So we'll be tracking, you'll have to take my word for it again since I can't show you this, we'll be tracking the Denver VOR, which is 1790 outbound on a 074. And then that will lead us to red table. It's a 109-mile leg, so we'll flip it over. The changeover point is 70 miles from the Denver VOR, so we'll change it at 70 outbound. And boy, I think our departure frequency is actually Denver Center. We're hoping to have some ATC all the way down and through. We'll see. Who wouldn't want to ferry an old-time DC8 down to down to San Diego? All right, I see 2-5. Pull up to the hold short. Check our checklist here. Okay. And let him know we're ready to go. All right, before takeoff. We are going to put the landing lights on. We are going to put the retracts on. And real quick altimeter check. It did switch to information whiskey. So check that again super fast. 3012, that's what I have set. Heading again is going to be heading out on a 254. Yep, that's set. And then there's the outbound that we'll be tracking. Pretty much almost runway heading here. Honestly, we're going to get up to 10,000 and go from there. All right. Our rotation speed, you can see here, V1 is about 115. V rotate is 123.7-ish. That's 130. V2 142 flaps up is just over 200. And 172 is our EPR, is our takeoff EPR. Denver Tower, United 816 Heavy, short, runway 25, ready for departure. This is true. Nice long runway though, and we're not very heavy. We only put on 50,000 pounds of fuel, which hopefully will be enough to get us gate to gate, not like last night. Denver Tower, hello. And Denver Tower, United 816 Heavy, holding short of runway 25, ready for departure. We've lost Denver Tower.
Last time I checked, he said he'd be away for a few minutes. Best advice be to contact the center.
I appreciate that. I did not hear that. 3560. We'll go ahead and do that. 3560. Yeah, and SimBrief does. It's supposed to do. It's supposed to do that, man. I don't know what happened. Denver Center, hello. United 816 Heavy on the ground at Denver. Short of 25. Appears we've maybe lost tower, but we're ready for departure.
United 816, Denver, standby. United 816, standby.
Standing by, 816. Okay. You know, sometimes you got to take a minute, step away from the old mic. I get it. It happens. Well, I will describe to you what we have right now. It is it's good coverage for where we are. Denver Center bumps right into
816,
SoCal.
the Denver Tower frequency 123.3. He'll be back.
Okay, back over to tower 816. I didn't want to hear that.
Yeah, and Denver Center is closing now. Monitor point A.
Well, I was just about to talk about that, and so never mind. That takes care of that. And Denver Tower, not 816.
I think he's still gone.
Roger. Denver traffic, United 816. We're departing runway 25. We'll be straight out. Denver traffic. Just go Unicom, baby. $22.80. Denver traffic, United 816. We'll be taking runway 25, straight out departure, Denver. Ooh, I'm stuttery right here, though. Wow. Well, that's really stuttery. Interesting. I wonder why that is. Because I'm not waiting for tower, probably. Yeah, that's as bad as it's been. Wowzers. What is going on? Very strange. Holy cow, yeah, that's terrible. Alright, well, we're lined up. Pretty darn close anyway. We'll advance the power. Need 174 for takeoff. There, we're stable. We're ready to go. And I wonder what changed right there. Alright, takeoff power set. Clunky, clunky, clunky down the runway here. Airspeed is alive. There's V1. Now she's smoothing out a little bit. Gonna rotate. And as soon as I say that, kind of back to the stuttery frames. There's a positive rate. Gear coming up. So we lost center, unfortunately. That's a bummer. So we're going to do this kind of on our own here, which is okay. I don't mind. All right. That looks pretty good. We're supposed to level at 10,000, but as soon as we check in, we always get cleared up to at least 230. I'm not going to horse around a whole heck of a lot. I'm going to go ahead. We'll spin that up to 230, and let's get some airspeed built up here. Go flaps up.
Denver traffic, Sun Country 8129.
You level off slightly, and you try to.
miles south.
We're not quite to 10,000. Sorry.
For the VOR, the Foxtrot Quebec Foxtrot VOR, and then on up to the Northern Colorado Regional Airport direct is filed at flight level 160. Denver
Heading
traffic.
select right there, and now we're just kind of using this guy to keep our rate of climb somewhere in there, you know, 1 to 2,000 initially. We're trying to slowly build airspeed. We can go up to 250 until 10,000, and at 10,000 you actually level off just a little bit here, and you try to get it to up to 300. This is a very, very tough aircraft to get to climb up over, you know, 300. It's pretty tricky. At least I have a lot of problem with it. We're going to say clear direct red table, by the way. Actually, we'll pick up that outbound. All right, there's 10,000. We are slowly picking up our speed here. When we get to 300, then we'll just pitch up. Right now we're just a little under 2,000 feet a minute. There we go. We'll pitch up. We'll try to maintain 300 all the way. Here comes our VOR. We're going to just flip this over to navigate mode, nav mode, here in just a sec. And we'll be tracking that outbound to red table. Speed's still climbing, so I'm going to keep the nose pointing up as long as I can. All right, that's pretty close to the VOR. Ah, rats, it has a little bit of a correction. Okay.
Denver traffic.
We're going to turn the auto ignition off. We're going to
approximately 10 nautical miles
turn the lights off.
at flight level 150.
And we're wondering why we're making this big, huge turn. I don't know why we're doing that. Should not be. All right, let's re-engage heading. Just trying to go back, I guess. Just trying to go back. Did I mess that up? Look at the chart here. What does it say? What does it say? Rocky 4. I have a feeling that I've had that backwards. Rockies 4. Okay, I'm looking at that. Oh yeah, 254 outbound. Yep, that's the problem. So we'll head west and we'll try to intercept this, but this should be, instead of a 74 outbound, it's 254 outbound. Yeah, that's why it was trying to spin back and head. It was trying to go back 74. So we're on the outbound. Just had the wrong radial in there. What's the big yellow handle? Right now all it does is toggle the yoke on and off. It doesn't, it's not simulated anything. I think it has something to do with, yeah, the brakes, and it's an emergency air brake deal. But it doesn't really do a heck of a lot, honestly, right now. Okay, onward and upward. We're already through 18,000. Which is awesome. 29902. We said 70 is the changeover point. When this starts to drop, we're gonna, yep, it is starting to drop right now, so we're going to spin this forward a little bit. Bring her back down below 2,000 feet a minute. The thing holds its speed fairly well, like I say, up to about 3,000. Wiggle it a few times. Yeah, that's all it does, unfortunately. Alright, just about back on that radial. I might just put 280 instead of 270. And 20,000, that's nice because we're clear of all the terrain as we head into the clouds.
Denver traffic, Sun Country 8129 is approximately 5 miles to the north, departing the area to direct Fort Collins Loveland. Sun Country 8129 Denver traffic.
It's kind of a bummer that we lost center like that. Alright, there we go. I think we can turn that over. Pick up that VOR now and head toward Red Table. Oh, 1,000 to go. We will most definitely be trying to climb up to 380. I do like the challenge, and it's a long enough flight that we don't have to be in a huge hurry. I have had a few flights where I've just sort of crawled up there, actually kind of step climbed. I'd climb up about 3,000 or 4,000, level off, build speed, climb up another 3,000 or 4,000. And I've had a few times also where I've been climbing like at only about 500 feet a minute. As soon as your speed starts dropping, boy, it's pretty tough to get it back. So I'm happy right now. We're still over 300. And we're climbing at 2,000 feet a minute. In fact, I might just spin that down just a hair. We're starting to lose a little bit of speed here. Well, hopefully we'll keep LA Center online. By the way, if you're looking to fly, the West Coast tonight is really the place to be. We have LA, Oakland Center, Seattle, Vancouver Center. And then, of course, through the Midwest, KC, Chicago, Cleveland are all on. Jacksonville, Washington, New York are on. And then Toronto and Edmonton as well. So some decent choices here in the United States. And we're happy to have you along with us. Okay, so once we hit Red Table, we'll be heading down to Blue Mesa. That's only a 60-mile stretch here. We're only 99 miles away from it right now, but we're not going as the crow flies. We're kind of heading out towards Red Table first, which is a little bit north of Blue Mesa. Speed looks good so far. Still close to 300. I'll trade a little bit of climb to keep that speed up at 300 as long as I can. I'm still making 1,500 feet per minute, which is decent. And we're maybe sneaking up a little bit above takeoff power. Toga power, I should say. So let me take a look, see what my... Uh-oh, I didn't write down my cruise, my en route climb power. Let me look at the charts here. The other thing I like about this plane versus the Captain Sim is very, very... Oh, I do have it set. So I didn't set it to the maximum power according to the documentation, which is really what Aerosoft does very, very well compared to Captain Sim. So my max Toga power should have been 189 actually. So I have it set right now at the maximum continuous climb speed. Yeah. Been a while since I've been in the DC8. Need to refamiliarize myself though, because I do have a historic flight coming up and going to be doing some things down in some other countries, kind of like we did with the Canadian Pacific. We went north of the border. We're going to actually jump in the Fine Air, the Big F, and we're going to go south of the border. So Titanium Druid checking in. Hello. Good evening, sir. How are we doing? Oh, look at that. Can't remember. One of these I can spin a little bit. There we go. Well, not exactly ortho scenery, but still pretty nice. All right, you can see the speed now starting to creep down a little bit more, so time to spin forward, maybe look more at about 1,000 feet per minute. We're kind of hit that magic number of flight level 300, which is when it just becomes pretty tough. The one thing we have going for us is it is winter time, and so our temperatures are down a little bit, so that helps performance somewhat. So we'll set her here at 1,000 and probably just keep it locked in there for the next 7,000 feet. There's we blew past our changeover point here. So Red Table is 113.0. And let's see how close we are to that. Now we're a little bit off, aren't we, guys? Red Table should be coming in on 063. .063 outbound, which is 247. All right, let's flip over to heading mode. Let's get on this radial here. Yeah, it has it's like a little smiley face almost. I can't get down low enough, but it kind of looks like it's smiling at you when you get to the right spot. Right there. A happy little 4-engine bird. Yeah, we did slide quite a ways north, didn't we? Not good, not good, not good. We may have a hard time getting back to it. We're only 20 miles out. By the way, good evening, Kitty Monster. Good to see you. Is that what they're for? I was wondering. Cabin pressurization system. I didn't know if it had something to do with that, or if it was had something to do with the, you know, the helping the, like the keeping the engines cool or something. But that's cool, man. I did not know that. I haven't looked that up. I'm just happy at this point in time to be able to get this thing airborne. And I feel like we actually kind of got her going at a halfway decent departure. Okay, we can go ahead and we can turn the boost pumps off right now. We're going to have to do some things here once we get to climb, or excuse me, to cruise. If you remember, this plane, the fuel has to be offloaded in a certain order to maintain the best structural integrity of the wing, and the first tanks that we empty are these alternate outboard tanks. So we'll be turning those guys on here in just a minute, but we don't have to do that until we get up to cruise, which is only another 4,000 feet, and our speed has stayed up above 250. We're climbing at 900 feet per minute. We're 15 miles away from Red Table. We're definitely not going to get back on that radial, but that's okay. So the next thing we're going to head is we're going to head down to Blue Mesa. I'll probably initiate that turn here since we're a little bit farther north than we should be. I'll probably initiate that turn at about 10 miles. Virtual GA checking in. Hello, hello. Yep, it's my kind of high for sure. We'll see if we get all the way up to 380. Yeah, curse that John Denver. He will never let anyone live down the Rocky Mountain High joke. All right, when we get to Red Table, we will be on a 175 outbound. So let's, what are we doing here? I'm going the wrong way. There we go. And so I'm going to wait here. I could probably, man, I tell you what. Yeah, I'll wait till that starts to come in here. I just got myself a little bit. Actually, no, I'm going to start the turn right now. We're almost to the VOR. So let's get turned on 175. Let's just see how close we are. We may be turning a little bit early, and if that's the case, so be it. But we'll use that information and we'll make adjustments here. Red Table 1300. Yep, I've got that tuned in. Now, Blue Mesa 114.60. I tell you what, we may, sorry, 114.90. We may go ahead. I think we're past it right now. Let's watch this guy counting up. Yeah, 1490. I want to get back on my radial here. Let's see how close we are. Oh, we're not that far off. All right, engage the nav mode. And again, this is the very first waypoint in our INS. So this should be matched up. Yep, 53-ish, 54-ish. Yep, that's what our INS says. So here in about 7 minutes, that's where we're at. I'm going to let this get stabilized Speed is hanging in there. We need another 1,000 feet to go. That's it. You just don't want to get down there, you know, close to flaps range. That's when it gets a little bit tough. You actually have to put the nose down. It starts to really pitch. There's 1,000 to go. That is super tough to get your speed back up. So we'll mellow this out. We'll go 500 a minute. That's okay. I don't mind if it takes 2 minutes to climb that last 1,000 feet, as long as we don't get slow, because if we get down too slow, I actually have to lose some altitude to gain airspeed, and then we're just kind of back playing catch up. So it's better to just take it slow right now. Just got to get a little higher. Yeah, SimBrief thought it would be smart to clear me to 380. So I'm always up for a challenge, kind of like that challenge that Downwind Sim has tossed out. Well, I kind of did it to myself, but he's made it into a Bush airport and out that we're going to potentially use on Monday, and I have not made it out yet. It's a 900-foot strip, and you have to turn and follow a road and climb, and I have not done a very good job. In 4 attempts, I'm 0 for 4. Ooh, Titanium Druid, yep. That sounds like a good way to spend the day, man. All right, we're kind of picking that up. We should start our slow turn back. Yes, indeed. I'm going to engage the INS as we're kind of getting stabilized here and close to Blue Mesa. What I don't want to do is engage it too soon, because then it'll jump potentially. Well, actually, it's going 0 to 1, so I don't want it to jump to the south and think it's going directly from Denver, which is 0, to Blue Mesa, which is 1. So I'm going to try to get in, like I say, a little bit closer, and then you can engage. Then I'll engage the INS. That's bring this guy down here to auxiliary nav, and then you also flip this over to INS, and then the computer does the rest for us. Ooh, cream ale next weekend. Yeah, buddy. Now we just got another, oh geez, did I climb through? I did, holy cow. I climbed through 380, I'm at 385, thank you, altitude alert. Let's put the nose down, let's get back to 380. And my cruise, my power here has gone way up too, so. Let's see, what do my notes say here for 0.78 cruise? Yeah, 170 is what I'm looking for. 170. So let's spin that guy down to 170. Let's bring the power back a little bit more. And that's going to give us right about that Mach 0.78 cruise. See, our Mach number here is not quite there. It's about 0.74, but I think once we get leveled out and everything kind of mellows out, I think that speed will come back up nicely. I need to assign the same button to this vertical speed wheel that I've assigned to the vertical speed wheel in the 727. It sure beats looking down and having to take your eyes off of the instrument panel. I have a checklist for that very thing, and I'll go over it with you here in just a sec. It's the concept really is not that hard, but it took me a while to get it figured out, and it took me a couple of times of actually running out of fuel in the number 1 and number 4 engines before I figured it out. But it makes sense the way that you do it. Although I don't know the science behind the structural integrity of the wing, that's just what I've read is why they do it that way. Okay, we are level, so let's take a look at the aforementioned checklist. Oh, darn it, I can't show you titanium drift. So I've got a little issue with bringing stuff onto the screen, but I'll just describe it to you. All right, so here we go. When the main tanks get below 5,000, which they are right now, so that's at 4,700, 4,690, this is when we need to offload all this fuel, and we'll kind of not use that anymore. Okay, so the way that we do that is we turn the boost pumps on for the outboard auxiliary fuel tanks, and then we open the cross feed valve, and now we'll just kind of watch, and this should start to use this fuel, but this should stay at 4720. Yep, there we go. That's counting down. Let's look over here, 5480. See if that counts down. See if this stays at 4690. Yep. Oh, and that actually went up a little bit, so it's pumping fuel in there as well. Usually it doesn't pump a lot of fuel in, but it keeps this roughly where it is right now. It may go up a little bit, but then the idea here is once you've exhausted the auxiliary tanks, whatever number this is, and this should match up with what we have here in the main tanks for the number 2 and the number 3, the inboard mains. So that's what we'll kind of be watching and monitoring. All right, we're close. I think we're going to do this. INS is engaged. Let's see. May make a little correction here. I might have waited too long. It may be trying to adjust back. I may have gotten too close. Nope, it looks like it just made a slight correction to the right. And with any luck, we will head a little further to the south. That's our next waypoint is down here, Rattlesnake, 114 nautical miles. All right. Oh yeah, we actually flew past it, so that was not a good job on my part. We are going 1 to 2, so hopefully that's picked that up. I think it's making a little bit of a correction with the wind. The winds right now are 287, so kind of in our face, coming off our right-hand side at 19. That's not a terrible wind for this altitude. And 107 miles from waypoint 1, which was Blue Mesa, to waypoint 2, which is Rattlesnake. So we'll kind of, this is tracking the VOR outbound, so we'll kind of keep that in mind as well. I should save a bit of that fuel for the taxi in. So I put more than, I usually put 10% extra in. And I am also I round up. So I do 2 things to make sure I have enough fuel. I round up from SimBrief, and then if that gets me kind of a, like a not a pretty number, like, you know, 48,900, I'll round that up to 50,000. And then I add usually 10% on top of that, so 55,000. What I do for Friday night ops is I always add 20% just because I know that there's a chance that I'm going to be waiting for clearance, you know, and burning fuel and all that. But anyway, it didn't work last night. So yes, the fuel management lesson from Professor Leroy was not a good one. I ran out right before I got to the gate. Luckily, we were so light at that point that me and the flight attendants, co-pilot could just get out and push us the rest of the way. All right. Math at one point was my strong suit. I taught math for 15 years, but I always like to tell people that I was more of a concepts guy. I'm not really a number man. But now I've been out of that. I haven't taught math for, oh heck, almost 10 years. Downwind Sim can attest to the fact that I can't remember anything for more than about 10 minutes anyway. So 10 years, that's like, that's a lot of years ago. Kenny Monster, okay, I'm going to confess, I thought that for a little while too, and I was confused by your icon picture. And I don't have the greatest eyes in the world, but I thought that looked like maybe an icon, a young lady that was an icon. And so it was kind of about the same time that I met Agent Bravo 7. I'm like, oh, cool. Maybe there's a couple of ladies that are enjoying flight sim. You don't see that very often, so I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, eventually I figured out, no, he's a guy. Yeah. But again, names and figuring that kind of stuff out is also not my strong suit. But now we like brothers, Kenny. You stuck with me through thick and thin. I identify as a meat popsicle. Well, okay. I didn't know that. Christina Ricky. Okay. I mean, it's all good now, but you got to remember, I'm not the smartest knife in the drawer. So I'm easily led astray on little things like that. But I figured it out. Is it wrong for me to ask who Christina Ricky is? Does that make me sound old? Wednesday Addams in the Addams family. Okay, okay. That would explain it. I'm not an Addams family guy, and so I don't really... Okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Not the smartest, the sharpest... I'm not the smartest tool in the shed or the sharpest fork in the tree. Bueller, hello? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Voodoo economics? Yeah, that's what you get. It's just what you get. My mom always said, don't be the smartest person in the room. And if you are, you're in the wrong room. Well, I've never ever had to leave a room. All right, we're doing good here though, guys. So now the benefit, of course, of the SIVA is that I don't have to mess around with I don't have to chase the VORs. And at that point, it becomes just a matter of managing everything, making sure, you know, our Mach is, our speed's holding good, all this stuff looks good, you know, we're not overtaxing the engines. I do like to set all my VOR stuff though, just because I feel like it's good to be redundant. If you watched last night, I flew 3/4 of my route that I thought I was flying using the SIVA actually with the VOR by accident, because I didn't flip. There was a little button over here I didn't flip, but the more you can do, the more you can have automated, the nicer it is, especially when you have to flip back here. And yeah, that actually is doing a good job of filling this. Generally speaking, that just kind of stays about where it is. So I'm happy with that. It's using this fuel It's also using this, but it's also at the same time pumping fuel in, so that's good. There is a way, all 4 of these tanks can be connected, and if you had to, you could use, you could use the crossfeed. If something would have happened to like this, maybe this one had a leak or something, there's a way to pump fuel from the number 4 outboard auxiliary into the number 2 main. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Now, Kenny, I've never thought that, man. But that's not something I think you can tell on a chat window. Downwind always knew you were a dude. This is typing chat skills. You do have kind of a masculine font now that I look at it, Kenny Monster. I'll call the Winchester brothers and have them stand down. Is that a Bonanza reference? Supernatural. Okay. See, that's how old I am. I'm thinking Bonanza. I'm thinking Gunsmoke. I'm thinking Westerns. I love Westerns. You're thinking Supernatural. Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying either way, man. You're here hanging with me. We're good. That's not something that's not a requirement to be one or the other to come watch me crash a DC3 into the Las Vegas desert here. So, we need open mic night on the Melvin Leroy channel. No. Well, yeah, it is kind of probably better than the comedy channel. I got a lot of stories, and most of what is endearing to people about me is I'm almost old enough that I can be kind of like that confused old guy that people think, oh, he's so cute. He's just confused. Well, not quite there, but I'm getting close. But oh yeah, Mon Pa Kettle. Now Mon Pa Kettle, speaking of stories, they've got, well, I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna find this. This brings everything around full circle, my friends. Full circle to what we've been talking about. Oh, doggone it. There's a little ad. I got to get through the ad first, and then I'll show you what I mean. All right, I think you've seen this before. Mon Pa Kettle do math. You've seen that? All right, hold on. I'm going to cancel it so you can hear this. This is good stuff.
I figure 75% to you, Panma, and 25% divided between the 5 of us. Yida, Crowbar, myself, Tom, and the baby. That makes 5% for each one of us.
Billy, you're cheating yourself. If there's 25% divided among the 5 of you, that's 14% apiece.
Oh, no, listen, Pa. I wouldn't cheat you. You know I wouldn't. Now, look here.
Oh, gosh. Can you hear it at least? I keep forgetting about that.
Divided by 5 is...
All right. It's not going to make any sense if you can't see it also. So, all right. Go to this. Look up Mon Pa Kettle do math. And that's the reason why it comes full circle. It comes back to me being a math teacher, former math teacher, but there's a couple Mon Pa Kettle do math, I think, and I used to show them to my high school kids whenever we were doing, just doing silly math stuff. It's good stuff. Kenny Monster, he's a baby. He's 38. He's just a baby. Now, right in the prime of life, man. right in the prime of life. You're not an old guy like Downwind Sim. He's like in his mid-50s or something crazy like that. Virtual GA 42. I would not have guessed that looking at you in your stream, man. You don't look a day over 41, Virtual GA. But that's what they say, right? 42 is the new 41? I'm just kidding, Virtual GA. All right, so we're closing in, by the way, 19 miles to Rattlesnake. And we pretty well continue on the same heading. I'm going to go ahead and put 1530 in because that's the Rattlesnake VOR, just so we can kind of make sure that we're staying roughly on where we're supposed to be. And again, apologies, guys, for not being able to show you these maps. I have to do some more testing here with my new template, I guess. I don't know how well I like it or not, but at least the chat's working, or is it? Has the chat been working? Yes, it has. All right. Melvin is older. Yeah, I turned 51 this year. 50 was a bad year. 50 was back surgery year. Well, actually, it was a kind of a blaze of glory year. So I hurt my back while fishing. I actually took a fall while fishing, which is what I'm like, if there's a way to go, it would be to be out there on the river fishing, slip, you hit your head, boom, it's over, it's instantaneous, right? Well, I didn't quite do that. I did slip and busted myself up pretty good, ended up having to have back surgery. So, you know, I guess it beats slipping on the ice out in front of work or something like that. Although I would have at least got workman's comp. But yeah, so I am Titanium Druid. I'm just putting this nav frequency and I'm adjusting this guy just based on, well, I'm actually not even adjusting this guy anymore. This guy doesn't do anything anymore. It's dead in the water. But the DME still works. And yeah, while I have this flipped to the INS, it's doing all the work right here based off of my my SIVA. So right now we're almost to the second waypoint. We're 3 miles away, you know, less than a minute out, and then here it'll flip from 2 to 3. So this waypoint 2 is Rattlesnake. Waypoint 3 is Blue Mesa. Yep, there it goes, 2 to 3. Or did I say that backwards? No, sorry. Waypoint 2 was Blue Mesa. Waypoint 3 is Rattlesnake. So we have 85 nautical miles to go. If you want to look on the Sky Vector, guys, this is the route I'm flying at. This is what I normally am able to show you. But so we just went from Hotel Bravo uniform. Now we're heading towards Romeo Sierra Kilo. And so yeah, all this is. If I look at my waypoint, if I click this over one, this is an actual latitude and longitude of where this first waypoint was. That was Blue Mesa. This is I take that back. That's yeah, Blue Mesa. And this was waypoint 2. That's latitude and longitude for Rattlesnake. Now I'm off a little bit, I think. But anyway, it's all based on latitude and longitude, and it is incredibly accurate. Accurate to the point that you can actually do the across the pond. You can do oceanic navigation with this, and that's what I'd really like to do. If I ever do across the pond, which I can't. Yeah, no, I don't have the virtual. I can't pull the map over, so all I can show you is just what I have in the cockpit. I've got a little bit of an issue with my source here in OBS, and I'm afraid to mess with it. Let me see what happens. I have a, right now for the sim, this is a, I don't even know what this is. I think it's a window capture. I guess I could try to do a display capture. Let me do this. This scares me a little bit. I'm going to try to do a display capture. Let's call this P3D. Oh boy. Stand by for dynamite. Okay, let me put that in and let me move that down. And okay, we're about to find out. Okay. Am I still on? Do you still see me? Well, not me, but do you still see my DC8? Now, do you see Sky Vector? Hey! Okay. Well, next time I have to explain something, I can at least show you what's going on. Downwind Sim has all the confidence in the world in me. Kind of like Kenny Monster every time I land with the my back. Alright, so anyway, we're here somewhere. Blue Mesa, heading to Rattlesnake, no. Rattlesnake heading to, yeah, Blue Mesa heading to Rattlesnake. Alright. Predict out my back. I was gonna make that, so I had to work on part of this little template update is I had to work on my first ever emoji. Is that what it is? And so I made an emoji, and I should have made a back, like a spinal emoji or something. That would have been a great idea. Hey, you kids, get off my emoji. But I do have to, I got to figure out how to do that landing rate thing, because all the cool guys do it. I think even Downwind Sim has it in his, so I got to get it figured out. But I like that header that Slant Alpha had on the top of his last night. That was pretty cool. It had like the destination on the left and the arrival on the right, and you could see kind of how far away you were and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. Okay, back to business. So yes, indeed, I'm sorry, we are going from Rattlesnake, which was our second waypoint, to Gallup. I don't know if I said that right, but anyway, that's what's happening right there. To I think Titanium Druid was the one that kind of had the question about the FMC. So yeah, it's a very early version of the FMC, which I think most FMCs use essentially the same idea, although instead of using latitude and longitude now they use GPS data, so they're all RNAV. So I'm not technically RNAV capable, but if I could find the latitude and longitude for an RNAV waypoint, I could fly it in this plane. Alright, let's take a look here. See how our fuel's doing. 3630. That's up to 5750. Alright, that looks good. And these ones here in the middle of tanks are doing pretty well. And we started with this one. That's why it has a little less fuel. About 40 gallons. So it burned about 40 gallons of fuel from the time we started engine number 3 until the time we started engine number 2. So that kind of tells you how fuel efficient this bad boy is. What does your fuel calculator say, Mr. Downwind Sim? I'll even give you a hint. We are right now 205,000 pounds. Burning fuel like it's the 70s, baby. Yeah, yeah. Do you guys follow Mikey McBrien and Plane Savers? You probably remember that show called Ice Pilots from a while back. It's about Buffalo Airways. Anyway, he just did a stream that talked a little bit about that, and he's actually, his last two streams have been about, why does Buffalo Airways, why do they make use of the warbirds in, doing the dirty work for them, doing all the hauling. But he talked about something interesting that I haven't really thought about, but those warbirds all run on avgas, and that's according to him becoming harder and harder to find. In fact, he says there's only 3 places in the part of Canada where they're at that still provides avgas, and they're feeling like within the next not too long, I don't know what time frame he said, but he said he feels like Yellowknife, which is where they're based out of, will be the only one that provides avgas, which means that limits their range, so they can't serve all the communities that they have been serving. So that's just really interesting to think about. They can't run on jet fuel. Those old engines on the DC3s and the C46s and even the Lockheeds. No, the Lockheed maybe. Is the Lockheed a turbine? Anyway, a lot of what they're using up there relies on avgas, and it's kind of becoming a thing of the past. That might end up being the downfall, the undoing of all these restoration projects, is just finding fuel. That's why they run ROP, not LOP. I don't know what that means, Kenny. Oh, rich of peak, lean of peak. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's see here, boys and girls. Time to check. We're actually getting close. 15 miles to Gallup. Gallup's 1:15:10. I should have probably flipped that over a little while ago. And again, all we're doing is just getting a DME here. None of this matters. I do try to make sure I update my heading bug just in case something fails. Uh-oh, virtual GA took the bait. I actually thought that too, virtual GA. I thought that's why you ran lean of peak, to conserve fuel. But again, fail fish. Uh-oh. Yep. Actually, I think Kenny I've heard Kenny talk about this before. He's got a pretty good handle on this. His explanation, I remember now, is actually pretty good. The danger in it, if I remember though, in both listening to Kenny and Downwind Sim and Slant Alpha, who talks about it as well, is that if you don't do it right, you can cause a lot of damage to the engine. You can. Oh, back then they didn't care about economy. Yeah, no, gotcha. All right, less than a minute. We're going to be making a right-hand turn. We're going to be heading out approximately, what are we heading about? What are we heading? 128? Nope, that's the distance here. Turning about 242 heading. Let's see how we do. There we go. There's our turn. Yeah, they used the leaded gasoline. 242. I'm going to spin that around. Let's see how much course correction we're going to need. Our wind has shifted a little bit. It's 159 now. So it's actually kind of coming off our left-hand side. So we should end up a little short of 242, I think. Just crabbing slightly left. They do have one of these is it's like a track adjustment here. I don't hardly ever look at it though. I will just stay on the waypoint. All right, so heading from 3 to 4. We have 177 miles, about 24 minutes. Winds 159 at 16. Fuel is looking good. We're still 3,000 in the auxiliary outboards. 9,000, 6,000. Yep, those look good. Everything else looks good here. Aviation is almost as bad as education when it comes to acronyms. And we've got enough acronyms to keep us busy for 10 years. All right, so I need to kind of get a handle on this approach here. Since we're heading towards San Diego, we are going to be using the Barrett 5 arrival. So now that I can show you this, let's take a look. Oh, we're not tracking the right. That's trouble right there, boys and girls. We're not tracking the right. Where the heck are we going? We're going to Flagstaff. Not going to Winslow. Uh-oh. Rutrow Rorge. So this is an example of why you want to have both things set up where I must have the wrong waypoint in. That's not good. That's not good. All right. I did update my Navigraph, and it screwed me up last night, by the way. All right, I've got to do this before I do anything else. I got to make sure that we're heading towards the right spot. I should be heading towards Winslow. I'm going to look at my sim brief, though, and see if that's indeed the case. No. My waypoint number 4 is DRK. Okay, that's interesting. Where's DRK? Drake. So that's actually right. Now let's see what DRK, what the latitude and longitude is, and then if I have to, I'm going to make some adjustments. Sim brief, where are we at? Uh-oh. Closed my flight plan down. There we go. DRK. Let's see what that should be. Every once in a while you get the wrong thing put in there, and that happens. So DRK. Okay, I've got the latitude and longitude. Let's check the waypoint information. It should be, oh boy, yep, it's way up. It should be 3442.2. Yep, that's definitely not that. And 108.524, that's right, but that's not. I'm too far north for some reason. I wonder if I could three, 4, 4, 2, 2. Wonder if that would do anything, if that would adjust my course. Sure enough, it did. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. That's cool. Except for I should have done it in both of these. So waypoint 3 north. Not letting me do it. Well, it should have updated for me. I don't know why. Well, that's messed up, but we're not using that one anyway, so that's okay. We'll keep that on wind. We'll keep this on. Now it's making a big adjustment here. Hopefully it'll spin me. Hopefully it's not going back. Oh, it's going back to waypoint 3. Now I'm all, am I? I think I might be. Yep, it's going back to waypoint 3. All right, well. Time to just go back and fly this thing using VORs. Okay, so we're going to turn back. We should be, again, we should be on a, what is this? What's our outbound? 242. So let's kind of get that set first. We're way south of that. Holy cow. 242. Keep that coming around there. We're actually going to have to go maybe even past that a little bit. It's about 250 to intercept again. And let's put in Gallup. Do I have 15.1? I do have 15.1. So we're already 40 miles past Gallup. So here's kind of what happened, guys. We went here. We turned too sharp, and we were on this Juliet 8. So I tried to adjust. Instead of going to Flagstaff, I tried to put in Winslow. Well, I accidentally replaced Gallup instead of Winslow, so it said, all right, we're going to fly back to waypoint 3. So it was actually trying to turn me around to fly me back to Gallup, which is no bueno. So now we went down here. Now we're trying to recorrect and re-intercept this Juliet 96, 242 heading. We probably could tune in Winslow 112.60. Ooh, man, you get out of practice in a big hurry. Which is why it's important to have this plane in a regular rotation. All right, there we go. We've got that tracking in. I'm not going to worry about necessarily picking up an airway. Let's just figure out where we need to go. I got to get back to radio. Sorry. Okay, where do I need to go direct? That's pretty close right there. Back to VOR navigation. And that, my friends, is why you keep both updated. Now this is essentially going to be, I think, pretty useless. So we're just going to go ahead and just stay on. I don't want to mess around with trying to resume the INS. All we have is one waypoint. After that, we have the Parker waypoint. So we're just going to pick up 112.60. Winslow. We're going to pick up Winslow. Then we'll go past to Drake. This is a, by the way, 128 mile leg. Yeah, I think we'll just stay on radio navigation now. No big deal. It happens. Okay. We're doing good. All right. Meanwhile, back to business. We need to look at what I say, the Barrett. Is that what we're coming in on? The Barrett 5 arrival? I think that's what I said. Barrett 5, and we're using the Barrett transition. Okay, so we're going to we'll hit Parker here in just a little bit. And from Parker, we're going to come down here to Shady, then to Salton, and we're going to have to use a bunch of different, we use the Parker VOR to get to Shady, and then we're going to have to use Julian VOR to go from Shady down to Salton, and then we're going to use the what? Do we actually use the Poggy? I think we do. Use the Poggy VOR to track from Salton down here to Carl, then back on the Julian to track south to Barrett. And at that point in time, actually, we're going to have ATC at that point in time, so we might be okay. Where the heck are we? Might almost be in their airspace. No, not quite. Time we get to Parker, I think that's probably where we're going to check in. That's kind of our transition point into the arrival. So, and then there's no altitude restrictions really until we get to Salt, and we want to be below 240. So I do need to think about that just a little bit. 14.3, 11.1, so that's 25 miles. From Parker to Barrett, 61 miles. That's what it's telling me here. So if I need to be, if I need to be down below 240, I need to lose 14,000 feet of altitude. All right. Let's do some quick calculations here. 14,000 divided by 3, 46, 47 basically. So I need to start about 47 minutes from Parker. Okay. So I'm actually going to be, I'll probably be in descent here shortly. All right, how we doing? Staying on the VOR. So the VOR, interestingly enough, is not as accurate as the INS, but in this case it's much more accurate because I had the wrong latitude and longitude in. So yeah, it's better than flying Dead Reckoning. Hey, there's the Hound. What am I flying today? Oh, fancy you should ask. I am flying the Douglas DC8. Aerosoft DC8. And I'm not being very fuel efficient about it either. Kind of looks like we're hitting a little bit of turbulence. Got the nose bobbing a little bit. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Eris. Good to see you. Flying down to San Diego today, just doing a little bit of a test, making sure this baby works. I have a new CPU, a new motherboard, and just been kind of trying to work my way back through my aircraft just to make sure everything is going like it should. Okay, 10 miles to Winslow. I did see the prerequisite standing on the corner joke. Thank you very much, whoever that was. Appreciate that. And we're going to stay on track right here, and actually our changeover point is 107 miles from Gallup, which is 15.1. Let's put that back in just so we can see how close we are to our changeover point. You know, we've kind of fell off of that just a little bit, haven't we? 95 miles. $242. We're really actually not too far from that, honestly. We'll stay on there. Is that 198? That can't be right. I think that's just stuck there. 107 is the changeover point. Then we go to, we tune in Drake. Yep, there's 100. So we're almost there. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. 14.1 is Drake. And we should be coming in on the 060 inbound, which is essentially what we have there. We'll make a slight course adjustment. 060, inbound will be, or sorry, outbound will be 240 inbound. Yeah, it is better. Definitely still need to think about a graphics, a GPU upgrade at some point, but pretty happy so far, not only with the performance, but it was the first computer that I kind of, well, I shouldn't say that. It's the first computer in a long time that I replaced components myself, and I ended up, it was one of those that started as a small project. I'm like, hey, I'm going to ask for a new processor for Christmas. Well, Santa was good. I got a new processor. Well, I went to put it in, and I found out that the motherboard wouldn't support it. It was too old. So that meant a new motherboard. And then I found out, well, the case that I had was a micro mini case, and I needed a medium case, and so I had to order a new case. And then, of course, if you have a new CPU, you have to have a new cooling unit, and yada 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 yada. So anyway, it ended up being a little bit more of a process than I thought, but it actually went fairly well. I have two boys that they've done that, know what's going on. They helped their old man out, and anyway, it went fairly well. There's still a few things that, if you look real close, not exactly by the book, but if you look on my Discord, you'll see where I was in about just about a week ago, and it was like literally all the components were just sitting on a shelf on my desk. Everything was running perfectly, but nothing was in a case. So I didn't feel too good about that. At least now they're all in a case, safe and sound. But I do have a few things still to mess with. So anyway, yeah. yeah, I don't think you never get caught up, right? So I kind of like to be about a generation behind, not the latest and greatest, but it's nice to be able to, if you're pretty close to the front of the curve, you can pick up some pretty good stuff, but you can save a little money also. All right. But enough about that. Let's talk about San Diego. I am looking here, and I'm thinking that we're going to be getting close. So this is 60 miles to Drake, and then after that we head to Parker. Papa Kilo Echo. That's the transition to our Barrett 5 arrival. I think at that point, if I've not got to contact me, I'm going to go ahead and reach out to LA Center. Now, Kenny, we're just talking about the upgrade that I had, and that same old boring story. You've heard it many times. Back to the fuel. Let's see where we're at. 1500. Yeah, that looks good. 69.30, 69.20, 83.80, 84.20. Those all look pretty good. Haven't checked all this stuff. Everything in the green here. RPMs, everything's looking really good. Manifold pressure's all good. All right, I like it. I like it. I don't have my PC specs. I didn't because I was kind of a little bit embarrassed, honestly. I had an i3. That's how old my computer was, and that was an upgrade from the computer I had before, which I was super happy with because it ran everything that I needed. It just bogged down a little bit in some of these, like this aircraft right here, especially if I flew into, you know, any kind of upgraded scenery. So to bump up from an i3 is good, but I'm not going to wow you with my specs here. Now, I was running an i3. I was fortunate to save up and I grabbed an i9 for Christmas. So that's but the i3 it handled this. Now I had stuff set a little bit lower, needless to say, but it flew. It did everything I needed to do. But yeah, slowly but surely, kind of getting there. I upgraded some RAM a little bit 2 years ago. The processor was this Christmas, and then maybe next Christmas I can start looking at a new graphics card. Oh, I also put an internal 2 terabyte internal hard drive in too, which helped a lot. Yeah, I didn't even, I have it still, just in case. I'm using Downwind Sim's 6-month rule. I have the old motherboard, I have the old processor, the old cooling unit, all that stuff, the old case. I have it all ready, just in case, because it, you know, it did fine. It was a little clunky, and the load times were a little bit long, but once everything was loaded into RAM, it went okay. But yeah, there's no point in trying to like resell any of that stuff. But I guess if you're not running something that's, you know, like flight sim, if you just need like I actually bought it from my son, who they just used it as like their Netflix computer. They had it plugged into the computer, and they had all their online streaming services, and for that, I mean, that's something that, you know, fairly affordable, and worked good for that. But I kind of felt that way a little bit too, Titanium Druid, where there was times when I'm like, I should maybe just drop another couple $100 and just have somebody that does it for a living just put it together. Yeah, X-Force, or I mean, Jetline Systems, they make some really good things too, and so, but I don't know. Yeah, Kenny, you've got a point. I found my old Madden 97, and I tried to play it on my last PC, which had the i3, and it was already, I mean, even that was, as slow as it was still way too fast to run the old Madden 97 CD. Talk about a guy that's kept every single thing he's owned forever and ever. Ask Downwind Sim to share with you his flight sim collection. It's like the Smithsonian Museum, man. It's unbelievable. All right, 11 miles coming on up. We are just about to hit that Prescott. Yep, there's downwind. You heard me talking about him. He's pulled out pictures of sim games that, yeah, pretty dang awesome. All right, outbound. We're going to be outbound 238 heading from Prescott. So we're going to just kind of come up here. I might flip it over to heading mode here. See if we can do any kind of a nice gradual transition. .38. Let's see how we do. I vote Commodore 64 downwind. All right, I think we're right over the top of the VOR right now, so let's keep it in heading mode. And I think I'm going to check in with I'm going to check in with center here. All right, 2580. LA Center, good afternoon. United 816 Heavy, flight level 380. Just passing Prescott.
United 816 LA Center, hello. Unfortunately, I'm going to be closing here in about 5 minutes or so. San Diego is landing 27 this evening, so Cal's going to be closing with me as well. So go ahead and monitor Unicom again on 128. Have a great night.
All right, back over to Unicom. You have a great night yourself, United 816 Heavy. Oh, no. Well, caramba. So that means I'm going to actually have to do some factoring and some finagling here. So, all right, what did I say we needed to be? Maybe I still have it on my 40. All right. So we need to lose. We need to get to 24,000. Let's just spin that down right now. And when I'm doing it myself, I like to be a little bit ahead of the game. So we just passed Prescott. We've got 84 miles to Parker, and then just past Parker, we need to be down to 240, like 25 miles past. So let's say 84 and 25. Let's say it's about 100 just to make it easy. So so I need 140 miles basically if I'm going 1,000 feet from it. So it's about 70 miles out from Parker will be my time to start the descent. So we're 20 from Prescott, and again, what I say, this is an 84, so we're actually kind of right there right now. So I'm going to go ahead and back off the power, because we can't overspeed in a big hurry with this bird. And then let's just start to ease the nose down. I'm planning on about a 2,000 foot per minute descent. And if we end up getting down there just a little bit too early, I'm okay with that, because that allows me to sort of level off and stabilize the speed and all that good stuff. We keep our speed here between 250 and 280, I'll be happy. Yeah, our mock dropped just a little bit, but I think we're okay. This is an 84-mile leg. We'll flip it over at 42. Change over to Parker 1790. And then we'll see how we do. Shouldn't have weather as an excuse today. Prescott's where Embry-Riddle is? I didn't know that. Long time ago, that was a school I was considering back when I was a high schooler myself. Back in the mid-'80s. Embry-Riddle, the Air Force Academy. Kind of had the flight bug then. It didn't work out. But that's okay. Farm sim on the Commodore 64. I'm descending a little bit past 2,000 feet per minute. Let's mellow that out just a little. I'm getting my speed up there now. I don't need to be quite so fast. Very cool. Fine school. They just about had me convinced. All right, my speed is high, so I'm going to bring back the power even a little bit more. By the way, let me let's get rid of these bugs here. My ref. Let me check here. I had estimated about 135, but let's see with my current weights where I will be. What is that? Right there. So I'll be right about 200,000. All right. What does my paperwork tell me here? Flaps 35 at 200. Yep, 135. So I'll be looking to shoot that if able. Let's come down here. Let's set that bug. 135. Right about there. 200, that's zero flap speed, by the way. And we went through 42 here, so let me put Parker in 1790. Let me update my heading bug here. 1790. I bet we're pretty close. Yeah, a little off, not too bad. Sneak over here just a bit. Need to be inbound a 056 inbound. So we will turn that a little bit. Yeah, that's about where we were actually. Put that back on nav. And again at Parker, we come here about, what did we say? It was only about 25 miles. The Shady, and then Momar, and then Salton. That's where we need to be below 240. I'm probably just going to keep it going down because we need to be at 12,000 at Carroll. And then we'll pick up our ATIS. In fact, we can look at that right now. Let's just see what Active Sky says for San Diego. 330 at 6. And altimeter 3009. So that's going to again be a runway 27. We'll probably just dial in the ILS 27. Oh, we don't have localizer. That's right, localizer 27 for us. You know, it's RNAV 27 for everybody else, but localizer 27 for us. So we need to be down here at Vita at or above 4,000, and then we have 275 approach course. We just need to hit these altitudes on our way down, and we'll be in business. Step 1, we're just about down to 24,000 already. Oh boy, we ended up, my calculations were a little off. I will level off here for a bit then, because we're still 40 miles from Parker, and we have another 25 miles to go after that. So I'm going to go ahead, we'll level out, get our speed kind of back to about 250. There we go. Yeah, that was a bit of an early descent there, boys and girls. Sorry about that. I must have calculated in 4,000 instead of 2,000. What was I doing? Yeah, I was factoring in a 4,000 foot per minute descent instead of 2,000. Okay, that doesn't work. That's why you get down early, I guess. All right, we'll get our EPR set back up there to 170. Don't need the speed to drop too much. Our Mach is down below 0.6 right now. There it is again, downwind sim. My lack of math skills on full display. Goodness. I do have the Orbix SoCal scenery, so we should be getting into some a little bit nicer looking terrain down here. Yeah, a little bit. Kind of stands out like a sore thumb there, but I think we're just about getting into where it looks a little bit better. Whoa, hey, easy, big fella. All right, you know what I haven't done is check my about 910 gallons left. We may be way over the top on this. I definitely overcompensated a little bit due to running out of fuel last night. All right. So we we have our barometer, 3008. Let's brief the approach. One more time here. We're going to get to Parker. We're going to depart Parker 227 to Shady. We're going to descend as we're doing this. We're going to use the Julian VOR to help us with the leg from Shady down here to Salton. Then we're going to tune in the Poggy VOR to help us go from Salton to Carroll, and then back to Julian to go Carroll to Barrett. At this point in time, then we'll head direct Poggy, and we'll intercept that VOR into Vida. Vida is where we jump into our actual arrival. And at Vida, we need to be 4,000 or above, and then it's a straight shot in at a 275. Again, that frequency is 110.9. If we go missed, we're going to climb runway heading to 2,500, and we're going to hold out there 12.3 DME. It's the, what is it, Mission Bay? Yep, Mission Bay. There's an intersection off of Mission Bay. Honestly, what I'll probably do if we go missed is I'll probably just enter a right-hand traffic pattern and shoot the arrival again. That's what all I got to say about that. Yeah, that's what I thought last night too. Oh my goodness, look at the speed. Holy Moses. Trying to break a record here. Wow. All right, there is there's Parker. So let's turn off of Parker 227. Come back over to heading select. 225.67. We're going so darn fast, we shot right through that sucker. Holy cow. I do want to start descending again. Now we're going to go down to 12,000. But I'm going to slow down just a bit before I start that. I think we have time. We actually don't need to be descending until we get down here to Salton, which again, I'm seeing 25, some 25 plus miles. All right, there we go. We've intercepted that outbound. Let's get on that. Come on down, speed. So Parker 17.9, we're just tracking that outbound here. 227. And we're going to pick up Needles. Actually, as soon as I get kind of on course here, I'm going to tune in Needles. I'll flip this guy back into heading mode and tune that in. Maybe we will have a little bit of an issue here. It's kind of hazy, kind of smoggy. Doesn't really say anything about that. It says 10 statute miles of viz, and yeah, maybe just a little bit of haze in the valley here. All right, I think we're pretty close back on track here. Let's tune in Needles 1520. And that's going to be When we get to 208, so let's spin that guy around to 208. When that needle comes into play, then that's when we'll go ahead and start our make our turn down towards Salton. It's a 220 heading down to Salton. Okay, we're going to start our descent also here because got my speed back under control. Maybe even a little bit slow here at 180. I don't need to be quite down to flap speeds just yet, but we'll pick up a little bit of that speed. 3008 is going to be the altimeter. Did I never put that on standard, guys? Maybe not. 3008. Boy, the speed management in this plane closely mirrors the speed management in the FlyJSim 727, and it's just like you can never take your eye off the six-pack for very long, or before you know it, you're up here at 350 knots, or you're down here at like 190. It's pretty amazing how fast it can get away from you until you want it to change, and then it doesn't change very fast, and you kind of wonder how the heck it got away from you. And we may not ever come off these outbounds or these outboards. 600 gallons, that's going to get us pretty darn close to where we need to be. When we get to where we're down below 10,000, we turn all that boost pumps and all the cross feeds and stuff, we turn that off, by the way. If I did it right, those would be empty though. Okay, approach checklist. I am back on radio. I do have my my speed reference cards. I actually could be throwing in a notch of flaps right now if I needed to. I can throw flaps 15 in at 230 if I wanted. I'm waiting though for a little bit. Okay, still haven't quite got there yet. Again, we're tracking Needles 1520, which is just past Parker. I could put Parker in over here, 1790, just so I can get a feel for where I'm at. Bring that guy up. Alright, so I'm 30 miles or so. I think this might be a 61 mile leg here. That's another thing that cost me a little bit in my descent was, I don't think I calculated that distance from Parker to Shady correctly, so I actually end up coming down again well sooner than I needed to. And there is some terrain out here. Not that we have anything up, at 12,000 or anything, but there's some hills that you have to take into account. So it's not like you can just drop right down to 4,000 and call it good. All right, let's keep our speed about 250. And as I'm looking here, 4 arrivals into San Diego. I don't really see anybody though in the vicinity. Looks like we're the next up into San Diego. There is somebody, there's a 737 behind me. Looks like they're coming from Las Vegas. So I can't dilly-dally. There that guy comes in. Again, once that needle lines up, we are going to turn 220. What's our wind doing to us? 126. Okay. Kind of directly off our left-hand side here. It's coming 330 at the airfield, so that's kind of interesting. It's really gonna spin around almost. It's blowing almost exactly opposite of where it's blowing right now at San Diego. Watch the speed just a bit. This could be a nice approach, but for all the haze, so again, once we get down to where this needle intercepts, we're going to be following it. That's shady, the shady intersection. We're going to be following that 11 miles to Momar, and then another 14 down to Salton. And I might as well level off. Salton was where I was supposed to be below 240, which we most definitely are. From Salton, I only have about 35, 45 miles to get down to 12,000. Yeah, I'm definitely early on this. I botched that part of this arrival. There's no doubt about it. Actually, I take that back. When this lines up, we're going to be tracking inbound to Julian. We're getting pretty close to that. We're 90 miles. We're almost like we're past, maybe not quite, where we're supposed to be. Oh no, that's from Needles. Okay. How's our fuel looking? 500. We may yet shut those guys off. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? We're going to do that. We're just going to shut these off for now. We're going to close the cross feed valves. Just one less thing to kind of have to worry about. We're pretty close. 69.30, 74.10. So those did balance out pretty well. I think that I could live with that. By the way, we would be from Julian, we would be 25, we'd be about 50 miles if we hit Shady, correct? So as soon as this is where it needs to be, we're on heading mode. Let's just, out of curiosity, let's tune in Julian, 14-0. Should be about 50 miles from Julian. Where are we? Yeah, we're about there. So we missed our spot just a little bit. How much? 220 is kind of what we should be shooting here. Yeah, we ended up sliding just a little bit south of course. I'm going to make that correction right now. Let's try to get on that. So we'll track this until it's 25. That'll be Sultan. And then at Sultan we will turn 207 and we'll head for 34.8 miles. That's where we have to kind of start to do the last of our descent. But here's why I'm leveling off here. I know we're above, even at 12,000 I think we're above this stuff, but I'm going to stop at 16 just to be sure. I'm looking at my sectional here. It's not really showing anything higher than 7,000, but still, you just kind of get a little bit nervous when you see those mountains coming into view. So you can see this approach is a mess. I mean, it's got a lot going, but it's just trying to vector around just a couple of pretty busy airspaces. And so right now we missed Shady. We were a little bit south of Shady. Now we're trying to kind of get back on track here. This 040 or 220 to Julian, and so when we hit Sultan, we'll be 25 miles away from Julian, and then we know we'll turn a little more to the south on 207 heading. But yeah, a lot going on here. I'm just about back on that radio though. It does, Aries, and that's why it is important to kind of hit these numbers. So far I have not done a very good job though, so I don't know, that doesn't bode well for my actual arrival where I have to step down 1,000 at a time. But also those poppy lights should help us out a little bit on that. He says, hopefully. Okay, just going through anything else here. I don't need any lights just yet. I'm not going to need any anti-ice or engine heat of any kind. Temperature already here, even though we're still at 16,000, is already, 5 above. Well, I remember when this first came out, what an upgrade it was from the default P3D world, and it still is. But now that they're doing the True Earth stuff, it just kind of it's like, it's pretty amazing. It just goes to show you there'll be a time when we look at the ortho, which is literally photo real, and we're going to be like, yeah, man, how did we ever think that looked great? So I mean, I'm already looking at this going, yeah, there's some things that are not awesome about this. how quickly we get spoiled. But this, the SoCal and NorCal and the Pacific Northwest, it was a first kind of step into being able to do VFR a little more accurately. And then the evolution continued. There were you know, cityscapes, people like Dojevsky Design, you know, giving us Chicago and New York and Seattle, and little by little, like I said, the world looked more like it really truly should have. All right. Oh gosh, 19. Here I am chit-chatting away, and I missed my turn. Let's make our heading. We're supposed to go 207. Make our heading 180. And we're just going to stay right on Julian here, because when we get down to Carroll, we're supposed to be at 12,000. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bump this guy back up. We're going to start our descent down to 12,000. I love P3D. I do. I think it's awesome. I have so many add-ons just because it's so versatile, and I have so many of my flight sim friends that just do nothing but badmouth P3D, but I love it. I love it. Now I'm getting to where I more and more prefer X-Plane 11. Like if I had to, you know, do both, if I had to pick, I mean, one or the other, just because I like the bush flying, I probably would pick X-Plane 11 over P3D if I had to choose. But I think P3D is still pretty freaking awesome. All right, let's tune in, Pogi. Let's see if we can get. There's a half a chance we can actually get back on this. 207, right? Yeah, all right, let's just see what happens here. 207. Oh, I'm not actually picking it up. That's not good. That's not good. What was I supposed to be reading? 1645. Do I have that tuned in incorrectly? Oh yeah, 1645. Still not picking it up. Huh. All right then. Well. Yeah, now DCS World looks awesome. I mean, I used to like that kind of stuff too. You know, the warbirds and the, you know, those mission-driven sims. And I like what they have to offer as well. I think they have some cool stuff. I gotta go back to Julian here, 114.0. All right, so eventually we need to be on the 177 for Julian. So I am going to cheat just a little bit. There's 177. We're going to just turn to kind of intercept that. We've rounded our corner just a little bit. But again, Air, what I've always said, the best part about DCS World and Infinite Flight and X-Plane and P3D and now, you know, Microsoft Flight Simulator coming back is it's competition. And competition drives innovation, and competition keeps prices semi-reasonable. And whatever you like to do, you do it, man. It doesn't matter to me. But I just hope that there's always at least two players in the flight sim world, because that way they're still competing with one another. And I think we're the benefactors of that. So yeah, bring it on. Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, if that's really when you're going to be coming out. Oh, 13,000. Sorry, I need one more. Bring it on. That's, you know, there's some things in X-Plane that the developers, I think, are kind of complacent. Yeah, the weather's good enough. We don't need seasons. We don't really need vintage jetliners. Our business jets are good enough. I mean, they're making, you know, they're making a lot of things happen in the X-Plane world, but I kind of think they have a little bit of a, like, they feel like they're the highbrow, like their platform is so far superior to P3D because it's new code and a new way to do this, and it's not built on, you know, it's not just FSX that's been redesigned and yada yada yada, but at the same token, they've got a ways to go yet. And now Microsoft Flight Sim comes out and basically, from the screenshots, looks like they've kind of got a few things figured out that the geniuses at Laminar Research don't. I think that's kind of messes with some people's, I don't know, a little bit with their perspective, I guess. All right, there we go. We have intercepted 177, so we can go ahead and turn and follow that. And that'll take us to Barrett. And that should be, what are we thinking, about 17? Yeah. I need to make, speaking of that, I need to make a call to San Diego. San Diego traffic, United 816 Heavy, approximately 20 miles to the northeast of the field. We're going to shoot the localizer runway 28, San Diego. So I tell you what, we're going to get down here 30, what did it say? Another 10 miles? Nope. I'm ready to turn 223. I'm ready to start picking up that localizer. Let's just make our turn here about 220. Localizer is 109 or 110.90. Approach course is 275. All right. There we go. Titanium Druid, yep. And I'm in a wait and see mode on Flight Sim 2020. I've really learned a lot of things on X-Plane that I love, like making backcountry scenery and flying bush planes and that stuff. I love that. That's awesome. So Flight Sim 2020 is going to have to really wow me in that regard before I make the jump, per se. Okay, here we go. Time to slow down. We got to get to 4,000. Enough monologuing. It's time to start planning our approach here. Again, I could drop flaps in here anywhere close to kind of 230. So let's do that. I'm gonna have localizer coming in here soon, I think. Feel like I maybe need to go like this a little bit more. Not be so dramatic, an intercept. Okay, we're going to notch of flaps. And we're going to start the descent. Look for somewhere in that 1500 ish. Vita, 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 Vita. We're super high. We are super high. We are super high. Holy cow, how did I get so high above where I needed to be? Uh-oh. Remember that go around we briefed? That missed approach? That might be us. Goodness, we're coming up on Vita like right now. They're way above the glide slope. I'm gonna spin around. We're gonna intercept the localizer here. We're cutting altitude like a big dog. About 2,000 foot per minute approach. Yeah, there's our runway over there. We're fairly high. All right, landing lights coming on. We're gonna go continuous ignition, and we're gonna see. San
Diego Lindbergh, helicopter
going
921 Zulu's inbound from the northwest.
Okay.
General aviation area at 1,500 feet.
All right, so that guy's gonna be kind of on our 12 o'clock. Okay, we've got full flaps. We've got gear down. We're doing everything we can to get ourselves where we need to be. We're past almost to Vita, where we're supposed to be above 4,000. Well, we're going to be above 4,000. We're going to be at about 8,000. So that's not great. Forward slip, yeah. Well, we haven't worked on a go around in a while, so maybe this wouldn't be a bad time to do that. Localizer 27. Yep, we definitely are too high right now. We're supposed to be at about 3,600 right now. We're fully configured. We're basically at idle throttle. I think we've got a shot, guys. Enough fuel for taxi? Yes, we do, because I purposefully left 500 in each one of the outbound auxiliary tanks. Problem is, I don't think we're going to be on the ground this first attempt because we're like twice as high as we're supposed to be. Come on, baby. I'll give this plane one thing. It glides. It is a glider. It has huge wings, huge elevators, and it can really coast. It's hard to lose altitude. And it does not have a traditional spoiler, so you can't throw the speed brake out. I'm trying to remember if I have an auto brake here. I don't remember if I do. Is there an auto brake? Auto brake in the house? I don't remember. Well, we're gonna roll with it. San Diego traffic, not at 816. We're on short final runway 27, San Diego. I don't feel like I'm transmitting here. Why am I not transmitting? Definitely not transmitting. My little button, or my little light's not coming on. Alright, we're getting a little closer. This is scary time. Autopilot disengaged. Add some power back in. Again, our ref speed is about 135. We actually did a halfway decent job of getting ourselves down near the glide slope. Okay, we're below 2,000, which actually we're just slightly high. We're supposed to be Yeah, we're actually in pretty good shape, guys. Poppies are saying we're still a bit high, but we're in the neighborhood. We're a little quick right now is what we are, though. Let's see if we can get it down to 135. Flaps are fully configured. Gear down 3 green. Lights are on. This is indeed the San Diego Lindbergh field. There's our ref speed.
San Diego traffic, helicopter 921 Zulu's inbound from the northwest for general aviation area, 500 feet.
Boy, oh boy, I hope he was hearing me transmit, because I did not see the TX going on my V-Pilot. We're down. Reversers. Come on, hold the center line for Pete's sake. Okay. Yeah, didn't quite make that high speed, did we? Well, welcome to San Diego. Let's see if we have any parking spots. North parking. We do have some gate parking here. Let's exit and let's see if we can find one. Too small, too small, too small, too small. There's one. Gate 20. GA large. I don't want the GA. What the heck? GA large. Is that all I'm going to get? GA large? Really? Got no room for this old DC8? And San Diego traffic, United 816. We're clear of the field. Clear of the active. Well, I don't want the GA, so I'm just going to kind of pick a spot that looks good. That spot right over there, I think, looks good. Okay, let the ouch my back comments begin. How'd I do, guys? Downwind sim correctly predicted yes. Well done, sir. I don't need taxi. I don't need no stinking taxi lights. Kenny Monster predicted a negative 222. Can I pedal backward for drag? That's a heck of an idea, Aries the Hound. I like that. I like your thinking. I can't believe that San Diego doesn't have any large gates anymore. Or gates that are big enough for this plane. We're going to sneak in here no matter what. What is this gate? Gate 9. That looks like a darn good gate.
Traffic helicopter 921 Zulu's clear of the active.
All right, this will work with the Delta, the Delta gate. And San Diego traffic mic check. Well, I think my button's wearing out. San Diego traffic mic check.
Helicopter 921 Zulu, loud and clear.
All right, thank you. Okay, yeah, it's not showing up on my V-Pilot. That's weird. No room at the end. Let's see how close we are. Okay, yeah, that might be. It's not that bad, right? Just doesn't have the double jetway that can connect to both the front and the back. Yeah, it's all right. I'll take it. All right. Well,
San Diego,
here we are, ladies and
Southwest
gentlemen,
2169 on
at the
final
gate.
runway 27. San Diego.
Beautiful San Diego. And a successful test flight, I think, for the DC8. I'm very excited about getting back in this plane. It is one of the aircraft I have set to use here a little bit later on. In fact, coming up here in a couple of Saturdays on the 22nd, I'm going to be in the Fine Air DC8, and we're going to be doing a historic route. We're going to be heading from Miami down to Providenciales and the Grand Turks, doing a little bit of a cargo run for that. But here's what's coming up on the stream. Let's see here. The next week, boy, we've got some things happening. I will be on my normal Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. On Tuesday the 4th, I'm going to be in the Coronado Phenom 300, and we're going to be doing the Train It Up Tuesday. It's actually back in the Denver area. I think it's Pueblo and Colorado Springs. It's kind of a BizJet GA event, so that should be a fun one. And then Thursday, the Virtual USA Flying Club has an event. It's the Hudson River Skyline Flight, and I'm going to break out the Alabeo Cessna 170 tail dragger. So I'll be back to back because Saturday I'm going to be making sure that the PMD G737 is working. So like 5 streams in a row of P3D. But that doesn't mean I won't be in the X-Plane world on some of those other nights, especially Monday night. I saved the best for last because Monday night we have the February edition of the Bush League backcountry fly-in. It's going to be up in the Whistler area of British Columbia, and you can get all the details either on my Discord or the Downwind Sim Discord or downwindsim.com. There are a few scenery uploads and a couple of ortho recommendations for you. You don't have to do those, but those help give you the best, fullest experience, I guess. And anyway, that's the big event coming up on Monday. I don't think I'm going to stream it though. I think I'm just going to be in the Prop Strike 170, just having some fun and enjoying some backcountry flying and a really good group of guys. So hopefully you can tune in and make that as well. And if not, every Monday, the first Monday of the month is when the Bush League backcountry guys get together and have an event. So if it doesn't work for this coming Monday, try to look ahead and maybe set that one aside. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Now I'm going to try something. Instead of ending the stream, I am actually going to see if we can raid somebody. I have not ever done this before, so I'm going to try. You type in raid, and then you type in, we're going to go over and we're going to see if we can raid Chili Willie's channel. He's a great guy. So if this works, this will be it for me. I will be looking for you guys on the TCAS, and until next time, take care. God bless. Let's see what happens if we raid Chili Willie. 2 viewers are willing. Come on, you guys with me? Come on. 5 seconds. Come on. Good night, Virtual GA. Raid now, baby.
Like, you could not do it during your flight. It was so stupid. Like, you were just effed. What's up,